This movie contains significant spoilers not only for Creep 2014, but for Creep 2 2017, and potentially the upcoming Creep 3. Reviews and covers of movies are never intended to replace the experience of enjoying them yourself.
Hello, how are you doing today? I know this is title of the video is probably, a little confusing. Like, Ben, in April, you said you were doing Studio Ghibli next. What the fuck? Listen, I don't know what I'm doing. So being the very consistent, very to his word YouTuber that I am, I'm just gonna do what I want. Instead of giving myself a list and then anchoring down to that, I'm just gonna do whatever I feel at the time. If you are a true Ben XB, I came up with that one myself. You would have seen the community post about it, and it's just how it's gonna be. Like I said, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. It's just how it's gonna be. We're covering the Creep movie today. My favorite found footage movie ever, really. So, if you don't like me if you don't like me lying, then get off my channel. No, anyways, I'm going to be doing some new stuff soon. I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to try to stream at least like twice a week over at twitch.tv/BenXNow. My friend and I are working on setting up a podcast. We just haven't had time to put our brains together on the same Discord call. And then, I'm thinking, I kind of want to make some music. You see the guitars right here? You heard that? You heard me shredding, right? But yeah, I just want to make some music. If that's something you'll be interested in, just leave a comment. Also, second channel, not happening. I can't even manage a first YouTube channel. What makes you think that I'm gonna be able to manage a second channel? With that being said, sit back, grab a friend, and enjoy the video.
And now for our feature presentation.
You heard it earlier. Today we're talking about Creep. And no, not the Radiohead song. Are you kidding me? We're talking about the found footage movie released in 2014. Creep is an amazing movie, not only because I love found footage type films, but because I'm a sucker for how movies are made. Not only how the movie is, but how, people put their time and creativity into producing something that they are passionate about. Now, Creep was written and directed by the two great and highly underrated Mark Duplass and Patrick Bryce, who are the two stars in this film. Patrick Bryce plays a videographer who found an ad on Craigslist inviting him to go film this random stranger for $1,000. As Adam arrives, there's no one there. And then throughout the entire movie, Mark Duplass's character, Joseph, continues getting weirder and weirder, and just throughout the entire movie, he becomes all the more psychotic. Now, in this movie, there's no title sequence or, a bunch of big credits because there were only 2 or 3 people working on this movie. It's just 15 seconds of a black screen and some music, and then Adam pops in with his camera, claiming what he's doing. We're in his car. There's these beautiful mountain ranges, and while we're on the topic of found footage, let's discuss that. What is found footage? Found footage is a style of video or movie creation where instead of having a huge high-budget camera, the main character who is physically holding the camera, and some people might not like the shakiness and the unprofessionalism of found footage films. Personally, I think it adds to the realism of any movie it's in, whether it be a horror movie or not. A list of noticeable found footage films is, Creep, Cloverfield, Incantation, The Blair Witch Project. I mean, the list goes on. And in my experience with found footage films, I've never seen a bad movie. Maybe because I haven't watched all of them, but because any found footage movie just feels so real and puts you in the shoes of the main character. And within Creep, there are multiple scenes where the found footage style adds to the suspense and horror. If Creep was filmed with, high budget cameras, I don't think it would nearly be as good or have the true horror I felt when watching it. Now, Joseph invited Adam to film him because he has cancer.
Went back in to see the doctor. Brain tumor, size of a baseball, here.
And his wife is pregnant with their son, and he wants to record a video diary in case he passes before the baby is born. Like, towards the beginning of the movie, Joseph has Adam film him in the bathtub to, kind of mimic, a bathtub playtime between a father and son. But towards the end, you can see the emotion on Joseph's face change quickly after he takes the rag off of his face. And then he goes onto this whole nihilistic scheme about how he doesn't want to be in pain for the next 3 months and he's just going to die anyway.
2 to 3 months, most of which I'll either be in pain or
at the very least, sad.
I just can't help thinking, why wait?
Now, I don't think that scene would have been nearly as scary if it wasn't found footage. We see Joseph, submerge under the water, a couple seconds go by, and then Adam is just all like, yo, what's up, man? And then as Adam gets closer, Joseph just scares him, and, the first time, and even the third or fourth time when I'm watching this movie, I still get scared because there's just something about the scares in this movie that, really get you. And it's because you don't expect the scare. Throughout the first part of this movie, you don't know Joseph is a killer. You don't know his intentions with Adam towards the end. You think of him as his, sweet, loving dad who just, wants to provide for his son even when he's not going to be there. And there are multiple jump scares in this movie, and they all hit and work. But it's not only the jump scares that add to my love of found footage, it's the suspense, the leading to the jump scares. In a lot of modern horror films, you can tell when something's going to happen because of the music stops or the music gets a little quieter. But in Creep, there is no music whatsoever. So whenever suspense builds, you can't really tell until you do get scared. And that's another one of my favorite things about found footage films. They're unpredictable and, again, just adds to that setting of realism that you feel when you're immersed in a movie. Those are my opinions on found footage movies, but what are your guys' opinions on found footage movies? Do you like the shakiness and realism it has, or do you like the more modern horror movies with cinematography and all that? I think the first found footage movie I ever watched was Cloverfield, where this huge alien attacks New York and TJ Miller plays the main character in it. It's a good movie. It's just a good movie. It's definitely in my top 10. There are tons of interesting things that happen throughout this film. Now, I gave a brief description earlier, but now I really want to dive deep into the plot of Creep. So the movie starts out with Adam driving up this hill from, a Craigslist ad like I had mentioned earlier. And when he gets there, nobody's there, and he sees an axe in the front yard, which is foreshadowing, I already put a spoiler warning, but I don't I don't want to give away too many details. He tries to call this mysterious character, and then he decides to go wait in his car, and then the first jump scare of this movie happens.
Is
And then we're introduced to Joseph. It's a weird introduction, but it's an introduction nonetheless. Joseph then explains to Adam his situation with, his brain tumor and his kid. And in the rising action of this movie, we feel comfortable with Joseph. We are in this nice, beautiful cabin, and he hasn't given us a reason to not suspect him. As Adam is filming Joseph, they do a various amount of activities. Joseph has tubby time with his non-existent son, and then they go on a cool hike where they find this cool river with a heart-shaped hole inside of a cliff. And then we get to the diner, where Joseph has Adam admit something he's ashamed of, and then when it's Joseph's turn, we find out that Joseph actually took pictures of Adam as he arrived in the cabin.
Fred. That's me.
If I was in Adam's position, I would have just fucking gobbled up my pancakes and dipped the hell out of it. We then are back at the cabin, and we get this super cool shot.
Joseph?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna head back.
Adam is insisting on leaving because, it's a long night, he's got to get home. But Joseph is wanting to commemorate the day for a little bit of whiskey. After they take a couple shots, they have a discussion about money problems, and then Adam tries to leave once again, but is stopped by Joseph when he says,
I lied to you.
and then we get probably one of the biggest twists in this movie. Joseph had used the Peach Fuzz mask from earlier to perform on his wife without his wife knowing, if you're catching what I'm putting down. Adam then again tries to leave, Joseph being all like, I didn't scare you, did I? All of a sudden, Adam's keys then go missing, coincidentally. Now, up until this point, we have trusted Joseph with everything. Of course, he's a little weird, but everyone's a little bit weird, right? But whenever Adam's keys go missing, it's whenever you get that click in your brain that, Joseph is not a good guy whatsoever. He manipulated Adam into staying and drinking, and then whenever Adam wanted to leave after they got a drink, Joseph uses the excuse, listen, you're drunk, and if you get pulled over, you're gonna get a DUI.
Technically, you are over .08. If you get pulled over by the police, you will get a DUI.
Now, Adam makes the amazing play by lacing some whiskey with Benadryl, just knocking Joseph out. He attempts to find his keys in Joseph's jacket, but Joseph does some questionable things in his sleep, and then a phone rings. Now, this scene is really tense because most of it is silent. And then whenever you hear that super loud phone ringing, for me at least, I got this huge heat wave throughout my entire body. Adam then goes into the bathroom, getting a call from Joseph's sister, who Joseph had claimed was his wife.
My brother has problems.
Joseph's your brother. Your brother has cancer.
We then learn that Joseph doesn't have a wife and that he has done this before and he's like super mentally ill. And basically that Joseph is just lying about this entire operation. As Adam tries to leave the room he's in, we see Joseph standing up. This scene is also, it just caught me so off guard because I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen, that quickly. Joseph then runs downstairs and puts on the Peach Boys mask and stands in front of the front door.
Or. Okay. Well, I'm terrified, okay? Stop. Stop it. Stop it!
We then get a huge red herring in this movie when the next scene starts. It looks like Joseph is carrying a body bag or trash bag or something, but then zooms out to reveal it's just a DVD playing on the TV, and we're through the lens of Adam's camera again, just watching the video that was mysteriously sent to him. Now, throughout the course of a couple of days, Adam just keeps having these weird things happen to him, and Joseph is just on the loose. He's mad. A necklace then comes in the mail from Joseph, and Adam immediately just throws it away. Adam then tries to go to the police, but as usual in horror movies, the police are absolutely useless. Now, a day or two later, another package comes with a video where Joseph says this.
Hey, Aaron. I get this. You get a grave digging video in the mail, you throw it away. That's not a big deal. This was harder for me.
And somehow Joseph is able to get Adam back on his side to meet him in the park, resulting in Adam's demise. $500 is not easy to make a movie, but it is 100% possible. And even one of the more impressive outcomes of this movie is its box office. A $500 movie made $7.4 million, which sure, it's not, Marvel level $300 billion for, however much they spend on a movie, but from $500 and 3 people on set, $7.4 million is more than an accomplishment. If I were to make a movie, even if it, made $1 more or a couple $100 more than the original budget, I would still be satisfied because, it is more than my budget and I did make a little money, but because, I just made my craft and my passion for movies. Now, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a spiel because, I just had something come into my mind and I really want to talk about it. And that's, there is no such thing as a bad movie. Humans do have opinions on what movies they think is good. Any movie you think is bad, I'm sure at least a million people on Earth is their favorite movie of all time. And that's why even when I watch a movie, if I'm not liking it, I still stick around. I like hearing dialogue and wondering, I wonder why they chose them to say that. Or seeing a certain shot and thinking the same thing. I love the creativity that goes into making a film. I mean, alongside the final product, seeing someone's ideas and craft being put into picture the way they wanted, the way they intend to, even if it's a shitty movie, it's still a great creation. Some notable directors like Wes Anderson, Patrick Bryce, or even David Finch, they are all amazing directors. They have amazing movies that really popped off in the box office. But on the other end of the spectrum, they also have movies that didn't perform well, but I still see them as beautiful masterpieces. Creep is the first movie in a set of a sequel. The second movie sees a struggling YouTuber who hosts a YouTube series called Encounters.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome to Encounters.
Where she sees a bunch of Craigslist ad for some strange requests and just goes through with it and records them. There's one where this guy wants to be, mommied. And there's another one where a guy just wants to have a simple talk with someone. And when she's about to give up, she finds Aaron, who is Joseph, just under another alias, wanting to do the exact same thing that Adam had done in the first movie, just come out and film. And in this movie, it's a lot of the same attributes, except our main character, Sarah, played by Desiree Akhavan, is, a little more fighting back. She doesn't get as scared by Aaron's jump scares, and she actually manages to scare him a couple of times, putting him in his place and almost defeating him in the process. Now, within the first few minutes of Sarah and Aaron meeting, Aaron once again decides to strip naked in front of him, and then Sarah proceeds to do the same. As they go about their day, Aaron straight up confesses to Sarah that he is a serial killer and shows the ending of Adam's life from the previous movie. But I'm as friendly as a rabbit. Sarah believes him and is skeptical at the same time. When she goes to the bathroom, it seems like she believes that he's a serial killer, but she believes more that it's just a prank and this is what he is, who he is. He pretends he's a serial killer. Throughout the day, there is still a bunch of more tension-building scenes. Like when Erin tries to hide behind a rock and Sarah's trying to look for her, we hear noises and growling from every different direction, and every time the camera pans over, you kind of think that you're going to get jump scared, but you don't. You just see Erin just like... Whenever Erin tries to scare her, she either rebuttals and scares him or is not fazed at all and tries to turn it into something that turns it around on Erin. Erin proclaims that when Sarah starts asking him, if you are a real serial killer, why do you trust me? I could just go take this to the police. Erin explains that she's not going to be able to do that because tomorrow Erin will be dead.
You won't go to the police tomorrow because tomorrow I'll be dead.
Hearing this, Erin tries to get himself killed by Sarah almost like 3 times. After Sarah tries to leave after the hanging attempt, we're then in the woods where Erin tries to convince Sarah to bury him once he tries to stab himself and to do the same to herself after he's done. But Sarah, being the badass she is not going to let this slide. And whenever she has the knife in hand, she stabs Erin and then runs away. And then, everything seems good. They fight a bunch. They are on the ground. And then Erin is all like, listen, I'm not going to die. I'm Mark Duplass. Resulting in Sarah hitting him on the head with a shovel and burying him in the grave that he had dug for the 2 of them together. At the end of this movie, someone's filming Sarah just going about her day-to-day life. Maybe she stopped doing the encounter episodes because, of the experience she just went through. We don't see this mysterious perpetrator, but they start whistling Peach Fuzz's theme song. Now, whether or not this is Erin is unlikely. It could be, but we did just see him get buried. With another great ending to the film, it just sets up the amazing last film of a trilogy, which is coming out. Both Mark Duplass and Patrick Bryce have confirmed that they are working on and gathering ideas for a 3rd Creep movie. Now, what is the 3rd movie going to be about? We don't know. Only Patrick and Mark know as of right now. Obviously, this movie is going to be a found footage movie, so I'm going to love it. I have to admit, I am biased towards any found footage movie, no matter how cheesy the dialogue is or how shaky the camera is. After Creep 1 and Creep 2 had released, it was loved by many cult classic horror fans. It's almost a staple in the found footage realm, and if you go to the comment section of the movie on YouTube, you can see tons of positive reviews and people just admiring this movie. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen the Creep movies at all? If you have, I super recommend. Oh, super recommend? What the f? Have you guys seen either of the Creep movies? If not, I suggest you should. They're both on Netflix, and they both have the help of Blumhouse behind them, so it's going to be a good movie. Thank you guys for joining me here today. I'm sorry I didn't keep up with my format like I said I was going to do. I got super burnt out. The thing is, I already recorded that video, and while I was editing, I was thinking to myself, I don't know. It looks like I don't know what I'm talking about, and none of my points came across clearly, and I just couldn't put that out. Studio Ghibli deserves a good retrospective, and I can't promise that I'm going to deliver that in the future, but I still love Studio Ghibli with all my heart, and I will continue loving and supporting their movies. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.